Hi y'all, it's Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack, and we're back here again today because we're going to be working with this beautiful macaw. Well, it's not so beautiful right now, but it will be when we get finished with it. Let me get him over here in the picture so y'all can see. We received a Dear Abby letter about this macaw, and I'm going to read that to you. And it was sent in by one of our viewers. Let me see if I can get it up here on the screen. Okay, here we go. Dear Miss Charlene, I have a problem. I hope you will help me. I once was a beautiful parrot lamp. My mom used to be so happy to turn my light on and read books with my beautiful plumage beside her. Then my mom found a proud toucan that sticks his beak up high in the air, overlooking the pool. Then she bought a stuffed parrot with a bright yellow chest that she put on her boat. She even named that bird Limoncello. I'm getting older and duller and less used and less noticed and even embarrassed. Can you please help me become beautiful again? I have watched your Crafty Art Shack and you are a miracle worker. I don't know about that, but we'll see. You are very talented indeed, and I need your help. I'm pretty sure someday my brother parrot lamps need help too. And you can help me teach others how to help my brother lamps who are probably at flea markets. Thank you, the hopeful parrot lamp. Okay, we're also going to give this parrot, or this macaw, a name. And we're going to call it Orchid. And we're going to take, I've already gone and took a blower to this. And when I say a blower, I have an air compressor. And I blew out all the dirt and all the dust and everything that could possibly be on this from where it was stored. And then on the bottom here, the bottom part of this, the wood part, is starting to flake off on the wood. Is starting, the finish is starting to pop off, and I got as much of that off as I could with the air compressed air. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take and sand this part of the bird and get that taken care of. And when I do, then I'll join you at the craft desk, and we'll go from there and start polishing up these colors on this bird with some paint. And we'll see you at the craft desk in just a minute. So let's get this show started.
Okay, you guys, here we are at the craft desk, and we have Orchid, and we're getting ready to paint Orchid in. This bird's going to be kind of big to put in the video, so let me see how far out I can get y'all so that you can see him in the video. Okay, so what I did is I went around the bottom edge, because this is like a faux wood, and I cleaned it up and I sanded off any burrs and stuff like that off the bottom of it. And I like to, when I'm working on a project like this, I like to start at the top and I like to work my way down. But when you've got something that needs attention like this wood did, you need to work on this first, and you need to do any cleaning that needs to be done before you start painting on a project like this. Okay, so now we're going to start painting, and this is probably going to be a several part video because we're not going to get it all done in one video. I don't know exactly where that dropped off, but what we're going to work on today is we're going to work on the beak. As you can see, his beak is pretty rough. We've cleaned off any chipping paint. That's why you see these raw spots here. We're going to work on the beak, and we're going to work on the eye on this side today, and then we're going to try to get the eye on the other side over here today. So what the kinds of paint that I'm using, because of I have allergies to oil paints and other certain paints, I'm just using regular acrylic paints that you get in the tubes. Out for right now, this is just a regular old craft paintbrush with, I'd say that's about a little over 1/4 inch. That might be just, What I'm doing is I'm checking to see how much of a spread it's going to get on that beak, because I want to paint that white part. Then I got to come down here and paint the black part. Okay, so I'm going to paint the white first. And I've got my little tray here that's already had paint on it before. It's okay, it's dry, it's not going to mess up my paints. And I'll put a little bit of it on my, I don't know if y'all can see me because I've got y'all zoomed in on the bird, but I'm putting some white down on my tray. And let's see, which little palette thing do I want to use. I'm gonna put some white down, not too much, because just a little squeeze, because we're just working on this part right here, and then we're going to paint around this part of the eye. We're not going to get inside the eye, we're going to get this white part around the outside. So we're going to grab some of that paint on our paintbrush, and when I'm using this paint, I put some in one of these little things. What I like to do with my paint is I get my paintbrush and I sit there and dab it into my brush to get it worked in to the bristles. And then once I get my paintbrush loaded like that, then I'm going to start painting. I don't just put some on the tip and then start painting. Let me move these out of the way. And we're going to start on the beak, and it doesn't matter if we cover up this black spot right now, because this black spot we can put back in there. There's a little divot there, so we know right where it's going to go. We know right where it's going to go. So we're going to start up here at the top of the beak, and we're going to go right up to the hairline. And we're just going to take that brush and push it in there, up to that hairline, and let it etch in there. And then we're going to pull down to the bottom of the beak. And once we've done that, then you don't have to worry about being so perfect to try to get up there. And now what you're doing is you're pulling out those brush strokes so that they don't show. And I'm making sure I get in there and get that little black spot covered up, because when I put the new one back down, I want to make sure that it's good and covered, so when I put the new one in, it'll show up bright and shiny. Okay, so we've got the beak on this side covered in. We're going to have to flip him over to do the other sides, but let's go in here and paint this side while we're over here. So we're going to go back in and we're going to load up our brush again. We might get a little bit further on this than expected. We'll just have to see how far we get. And you notice I kind of went over that little line for the beak. If you do that and you want to make sure that you don't have enough confidence in yourself as far as remembering where that line was, take a baby wipe and just take your baby wipe and push it up there and wipe away that paint that you put on there, so you can see where his beak line was. I can see it under the paint, but if you're thinking, oh no, I'll forget where that was, just take your baby wipe and wipe it away. But remember, do not paint your black paint until that area has dried where that baby wipe was. Now, see how I wiped off that black, where that black was? Okay, I also wiped off some of that white, but I'm going to come back in and put a second coat on that after I do this up here. Let's go up here. We're going to go in here and get in all these little crevices. Now, the reason why you want one of these brushes with the loose bristles is because you want to get down in those little crevices and push that paint down in there. Now you want to make sure you're staying away from this eye right here. And you're just going to get right up in there, and you're just going to touch up that white paint that's there and make it look nice and fresh. Then we're going to go over here where the white comes and meets the beak. I'm going to get a little bit more paint. You'll know when your brush starts looking like it's not putting down anything, go load your paintbrush back up. And you'll see where the people painted it before. They got white, they got black over into here on the white. So see, they weren't perfect when they did it the first time. So it's okay. You just go in there and paint, and don't be afraid to go in there and fix up and freshen up these projects like this. Now, if it's a collectible, you may not want to do that, but if it's something that you picked up at a flea market or a garage sale and you want to freshen it up and give it a fresh new coat of paint, this is how you do it, and you ain't got to be afraid to do it. Okay, we're going to go load up that brush really good again. And we're going to go in there and touch that beak up one more time on this side. We're going to go back up to that hairline and pull all the way down to where the black line is. And go up here to the hairline. And I'm just taking my brush and wiggling it up there and pulling it down. And then I'm going to go back and pull that brush stroke out. And go back and pull that brush stroke out. That's what you don't want, is the brush strokes left in there. And you'll know, you can go in there, and how you pull the brush strokes out is when you put it down and you press down, it'll leave a brush stroke. But if you put it down and you lightly pull across the top of it, it'll take it away. And I'm just kind of following that line where that black was on there. Now we're going to flip it over. We're going to take our bird, we're going to flip them over. Now this one might be a little bit harder to see. Alright, now we got to do this side of the beak and this side of the eye over here. Okay, we're going to go load up the paintbrush again, and we're going to start up here at the top where the feather line is, and we're going to pull it down. We can start down here and pull up, go up here and pull down, and then we got another little divot right there. We're just going to go ahead and fill it in, and see, we got a brush stroke right there. Can y'all see that brush stroke on the camera? Just take and go over the top of it and pull it lightly, and that gets rid of that brush stroke. And then you just go in here and see, we got another line right there. We'll just pull it out, and we're just waiting on it. We're going to wait for this white to dry before we try to come back in with black. And look at there. Look how much better that beak is already looking. His mama is going to love, or her mama, I'm not sure. We're going to call them Orchid. Is going to love to sit there with its beautiful plumage and read a book with it now. Okay, so we got enough paint on the beak. Now let's load up our brush again, and we're going to come in here and catch this eye. And we're just hitting the white part right now, and we're pushing it down into those cracks because we want to brighten it up. But we don't want to leave a whole lot in those cracks, so we're going to go back and pull it forward or push it back, whatever way we need to do it, so that it gets, we see that feather look still, but yet we see that paint, that fresh paint down in there, making it bright again. And see how I'm just turning that brush around that eye? And if you get a little bit of paint past the white, it's okay, because we're going to come back with that next color. We're going to come back with that next color and get in there. And there we go. Orchid has a fresh beak and fresh new feathers around its eyes. So let's go ahead and move on to the next color. I'm not going to do the black on the beak because I want to make sure this white on the beak gets really good and dry. And there's another reason why I'm going to move on to the next color, and I'm going to show you why. Because y'all are going to see something. I'm going to put one more coat on this side because I'm not sure if I put a second coat on here. Make sure I pull out all those brush strokes again. There we go. That's good and covered. There we go. Now, I'm not rinsing the paint out of my brush. A lot of people will tell you rinse the paint out of your brush. I'm not rinsing the paint out of my brush because I'm going to use it for my next color. Because I do a lot of color blending. So now we're going to go back to this other side over here. Let me get him turned back over. Alright, Orchid. Let's go back to this side where we know you're dry. Okay, so this side of Orchid is good and dry. Well, maybe. Let me touch that back up where I touched it. Not quite dry yet. He's getting there. You want to make sure you don't touch it because you'll cause lines in your paint if you touch it before it is dry. And you don't want to do that. Like I did. Okay, so we're going to leave that alone. We're not going to mess with it anymore. Okay, now I'm not rinsing the paint out of my brush because I'm going to come in here with my next color. My next color is going to be a light yellow. Now the reason why I'm not rinsing the paint out of my brush, and we're going to start working that light yellow in there, is because, and then you notice it goes to a orange and a red. So we're going to have some colors that we're going to have to mix. So I'm taking a, let me see if it tells you. There's a lemon yellow and there's a medium yellow in this kit. So I'm going to take the lemon yellow and put it down on my tray. And I'm going to mix some of this white that I have in my brush with it to give me that yellowish color right here that has some of the white with it. And then there's some red that's mixed in there. So watch how we're going to mix that in together. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I still have the white on my brush. Okay, see the white on my brush? I'm going to mix the white and the yellow. Let me see how we're doing on time. Okay, we got 15 minutes into the video. Okay, so I'm mixing the white and the yellow together, and that's gonna almost give me that color. So I don't know if y'all can see me mixing it. There's the colors right there. I just put down this yellow and there's the white over here. So I'm just mixing it on the brush right now. So I'm going to come in here to where my feathers are, and you notice these feathers are different colors. They're variegated, or I say variegated.
And I'm going to go, I'm working up here around the part that I can see from this side. And then I'm going to come down here around this side of his eye, where it is truly yellow and not variegated. And I'm going to put that in there. Anywhere it's truly yellow over here, I'm going to make sure I go ahead and hit that. Because, and then the pieces that are, like, you see me hitting certain spots, that's the pieces that are the yellow with the white in them. And I'm only doing the side that I can get to right now. And what we're trying to do is create the same colors that we already had there before. Okay, now we're going to stop right there. Now we're gonna come back in with this reddish color, okay? So we got a reddish yellow going on. So I'm gonna take some bright red, and it's like this. If you get started in this and it's not the color that you want it to be, then stop and go back and mix some more colors. It's okay, it's just paint. It can be repainted again. It's not gonna be a make or break day. So I'm gonna put a little bit of red
down here. Not a whole lot. Red is a really strong color. You don't need a lot of red, okay? And I'm still not washing out my paintbrush. I'm just grabbing a teeny tiny bit of red. And I'm gonna mix it with the yellow. Now, look at that color, that yellow color. Do you see that color that's coming out? Can you see that in there? See that color?
Look at that color right here on Orchid. Is that the color that we had? Well, I'm gonna go over his things. Start going over his, and what I'm doing is I'm lightly brushing over the tops of those now. I'm not going deep. I'm going over the tops of them. Well, I'm going over the tops of them because that's what had that reddish color on it. And the yellowish color was down inside there. And so that's what I'm trying to hit up here at the top. And then as I come around here, okay, I need to mix up more of that because that was the right color. And it's okay if you get various shades of that because the bird has various shades of that throughout its body colors. And it's like this. You can just keep mixing it as you go. And this is going to brighten up when we start pulling, when we put the sealer on it as well. It'll brighten up to be those bright macaw colors. And whenever you're painting something, you want to put your own spin on it. You don't want it to look exactly like what it was because this is your project. This is you. This is you on the canvas. This is you showing you and what you can do. And that's what you want to shine through in your projects. And you know what? This is how you learn how to do it. Make a mistake. Don't be afraid to make a mistake and go back in there and do it again. Okay, this time I'm going to come in with a little bit more red because I want just a little bit more red to show through. Maybe I'm going too red too soon, so I'm going to take some of that back out. Add more orange. Can y'all see that color? No, I'm around the bottom side. Okay, let me get back up here where y'all can see. Can y'all see that color? Let's see here. I think I want to pull more of that yellow back through there. I'm not real happy with the reddish color. Even though that's what they had, I like the yellow being highlighted more. So I'm going to come back in here with yellow and highlight with yellow because I think I'm going to make him more yellow up here and bring the yellow in. And you see how I changed that just by changing the color again. I'm going to go with the yellow. I'm going to go with the lemon yellow and the medium yellow and pull back out that red and then hit the reds when I get further down here on the bird. On Orchid. I got to remember to give Orchid his name. Her name. They didn't tell me whether it was a him or her, but we're going to name him Orchid. I do know that. Those yellows look the same. Okay. I'm going to brighten it up with some white. Can you see that? Okay, I take what, if you want to brighten a color, add white. Okay, and this, we will change the colors as we get further down the back of his plumage. Now, we're going to flip him over and we're going to do the other side. And I still haven't rinsed out my brush. I just took out, sorry guys. I gotta fix him so he doesn't turn on me. I still haven't rinsed out my brush. I'm still using the same brush. I just took a baby wipe and wiped some of the red out of it because I wanted less red. And I'm adding the white. Can y'all see? I'm sorry. I keep getting out of the camera. I hate it when other people do that, and I really try not to do that. Okay, I got my white and yellow on my brush again, and I'm just going over the tops of those feathers, and I'm pulling it in. I'm pushing into it because I want to get down into the cracks, because I'm not trying to paint the tops of the feathers right now. I'm trying to get into the cracks and give that fresh coat of paint down inside of there. And I want to go all the way over here to where we started with the fresh coat of white. And pull some yellow, pull some white, and we're going to push in. If you push your brush down, your brush feathers out. And if you don't want your brush to feather out and get wider, don't push down so hard. And you want to make sure, am I leaving my, this is different trying to paint where y'all can see and I ain't in the way. Okay, I'm painting left-handed. Yahoo! First time on the Crafty Art Shack and we're painting left-handed. Okay, I'm just pushing that paint down into the cracks because we're still trying to get that down into the plumage and give it that fresh coat of paint. And now we're going to go do the yellow that's down here. And let me go over here and make sure my, oh no, my hand's going to make the camera blur. Well, let me turn him around. Now I'm going to get down in here because all of this is yellow right here. And I paint this part yellow. And I'm pushing down into those feather grooves right there. And if we go over a little bit, it's okay. It's just paint. Alright. I think we hit all the cracks. Except for I see a few up here at the top, right here. Make sure we get them from this side. I'm trying to roll him so that y'all can see too. And making sure that we're getting all of this stuff in here nice and touched up. Okay, see all of those little spaces where you see those deep dark spots down in there? You want to take your brush and make sure you're going down inside there, because those, you want all those covered up. And those spots. See this one right, I'm trying to show y'all, right here. There's one right there. You want to make sure you get up in there and get plenty of paint up in there and get that filled in. Okay, we're gonna let this part of him dry, and we're gonna let this part of Orchid dry, and we will come back. This is how far we've gotten today on doing his face and his beak, and we've gotten him all prepared and ready. Got his face and his beak all done except for the black part of his beak. And let's see, same brush. We're going to use the same brush to paint his beak, and we're going to come up to the edge, push and pull, and we've got to get under his beak there. And am I in y'all's way? Nope. Okay, we're going to put this on here. We're going to make sure we're pulling the brush lines out. We're going to go up from the bottom, pull up, and lightly go over it to remove all brush strokes. And they even missed it down here when they were painting it originally. Okay, now we're going to paint the top part of his beak on this side. Okay, right there. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of following the line of what they already had, and then I'm pulling down. Okay, and then there's a little crack in there where the two beaks, the bottom part of the beak and the top part of the beak meet. And I'm going under here as well. And you don't want to leave any lumps or any, you want to pull out all of the streaks in your paint, because they will show once it dries if you don't. Okay, now we're going to flip him over and we're going to do the other side. Getting where y'all can see. This side's kind of hard to do. Okay, we're gonna follow that line up here at the top. And we're gonna paint all of that. Follow down there at the bottom of the beak. I can see why they missed that part of the bottom of the beak, but we didn't miss it because we are gonna make sure we get it all. And they even oversprayed on their part that they did right there. Okay, and we are done with that. Now, what we do need to do is put a little bit more on our brush, and we're going to come right in here, and we're going to take the tip of our brush, and we're going to come in that little crack right there, and we're just going to barely touch it with the corner of our brush. See how I'm doing that? Just the corner of the brush. And then flip it over. And I'm going to do it one more time on this side. Maybe you'll see it better on this side. See how I'm taking the corner of that brush? I'm just sitting it in the crack and I'm pulling it down. And that's it. That's all you do. Put it in there and just pull it down. And you gave him a beak, just like that. And we are done for the day. We will come back and work on him again in another video. This will be part 1. The next part, we'll move on down and paint more of his plumage, and we'll try to get further on in the video next time because we'll have more done. I see a spot I need to touch up right here on his beak. Right there. You know, and if you make a mistake, it's okay. If you look at things in nature, nothing is perfect, but everybody thinks that we've got to be so perfect. You know what? God made each and every one of us different, and it's okay. It's okay. None of us are perfect. The world likes to make us perfect and make us try to conform us to a perfect world. There is no perfect world. There we go. Okay. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next video here at the Crafty Art Shack. Thanks for joining us. And Orchid and I will see you again on the next video of the Crafty Art Shack. Thank you, and we'll see you later. Bye. It's Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack, and we are back again today because we are going to be working with this beautiful macaw over here. And we've got a special project to help spruce up this macaw. We got a Dear Abby letter about this little guy. And yeah, let's try that again. I messed up. Okay, we're gonna leave working over here and we're gonna go.